sort of comparison?
So the practices of disclosure vary quite a bit across the world, but I believe the Federal Reserve is one of the, if not the most transparent central banks. Many central banks in developed countries do not, for example, announce their policy decision or the votes that are taken. The Federal Reserve does both of those. They do not announce or provide minutes for their meetings. The Federal Reserve does provide minutes 3 weeks after each meeting. Many foreign central banks do not publish at all the transcripts of their meetings, and the Federal Reserve publishes the transcript 5 years after each meeting. On the discount window lending, that is a common feature, a common power that that foreign central banks have, but they are much less transparent in that area as well. Indeed, you may recall that at the start of the crisis, it was a leak about a discount window loan made by the Bank of England to Northern Rock that resulted in a run on Northern Rock there. So the foreign countries tend to be more circumspect about the information they disclose about their discount window lending operations.
Yes, sir.
With respect to the incident that Mr. Alvarez described, the British Parliament has written a report which is titled The Run on the Rock, and it has a section that describes how that run began, and that was triggered by public reports about a borrowing by Northern Rock at the Bank of England. And with the permission of the chair, we could submit that report for the benefit of the subcommittee.
Thank you. One additional question, Mr. Chairman, if I may. I know that you've probably gone through this, but explain to those who are viewing why it's important to have disclosure and why you try to achieve this balance that you have with reference to disclosure. For example, why not just have a CPA come in or someone come in and just audit everything all the time, every day? What is the downside to it?
So we do have CPA come in, Deloitte & Touche currently, to do an audit of our financial statements, including all of our transactions, our discount window lending, and our open market transactions. The thought on disclosure is that disclosing the names of borrowers and the amount they've borrowed provides the American people with more information to make sure that the Federal Reserve is acting in a responsible way in its lending facilities. The balance on the other side is that the discount window is a very important tool for both in good times and in bad times. In good times for providing short-term liquidity to institutions when they need it, and also as a monetary policy tool to help reduce the volatility of interest rates, and in emergency times to provide liquidity when it's to institutions that are generally healthy, but where panic has caused asset values to be out of whack, as it were, so that they can't fund the institution can't fund itself in an appropriate way. So the discount window is a very important tool. The concern is that because it's often used by both healthy and troubled institutions, the public will be confused if it sees the names of a borrower at the discount window and not be certain if that institution is healthy or not. And if a healthy institution is wrongly thought to be troubled because it's accessed the discount window, then that could cause problems for that institution. That causes institutions to back away from using the discount window, and that makes it a much less effective tool both in good times and in bad times for addressing liquidity crises. So it's important to have a balance in the disclosure. That's why we think the lag time, the 2-year period between the actual loan and the announcement of the borrower, is important. That leaves the institution some period of time to explain itself, to demonstrate its health, and to not be tied to troubled transaction at a difficult time.
I think my time is up. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I would like to direct this question to Mr. Baxter, and I want to follow up on Mr. Jones's question about how some of these decisions are made and how sometimes the big guys seem to benefit and the little people lose their mortgages and lose their homes and they lose their jobs. And of quite frankly, it's very difficult times in this country because it seems like people are too little to save. People are too big to, to forget about them, too big to let them fail. But I want to direct the question about the foreign loans, and it seems to me from the figures I look at that nearly 1/3 of